Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good whatever time that you happen to be tuning into. It's naturally not. Today I'm going to make something for you that is light, healthy, yummy, comes together fast, and will get you lots of praise in the compliment department, and that is a tarragon chicken salad. I started making this recipe probably 15 years ago, and I got it from online watching Ina Garden's show. And at the time I remember thinking chicken salad, I mean, that's the stuff that I grew up with at church potlucks and my grandma made. What's so big about chicken salad? Until I made Ina's recipe, and then I was like, oh, okay, I get it. And what makes this chicken salad recipe really good is the addition of toasted nuts and I mean, grapes are ubiquitous in any chicken salad recipe, but not just that. That makes this interesting, not just the nuts, I mean, but is the fresh tarragon, okay? Now, I started growing my own herbs years ago, and I've really varied with what herbs I grow and what ones I do not. But one I always grow is tarragon, and let me tell you why. It reseeds itself, so it's a perennial, and you don't have to go out and replace it. That reason is reason alone to make this recipe. But if you don't, if you're not a herb grower, you're not a green thumb, just go buy them in the little plastic case. They're usually only about $1.50, right? And just double the recipe and make a big batch of this. Or use the tarragon with potatoes. That's another thing tarragon is good for. So tarragon gives it a little, if you will, an anise or a little licorice flavor, which is weird because I don't like that flavor. But I like this flavor in this salad, and I don't know why it works, but it does. So let's go ahead and get started. I preheated my oven, and I got this great little roasting pan that I got as a gift a couple years ago, which is nice. It's just the perfect size for this dish. And I roasted what would be a little less than a full chicken breast. I had these tenders. I think Ina's recipe requires that you use 2 split, which is 1 whole chicken breast on the bone. One of those gigantic ones. So mine's a little less in protein than hers. Then we have a half a cup of, I didn't have pecans, but I used a half a cup of almonds. That I baked this for like about 40 minutes, and then the last 8 minutes I threw these nuts on and just let them toast. So only dirties 1 pan. How cool is that? I toasted these 8 to 10 minutes. This I just roasted with olive oil and salt and pepper. Okay, so let's go ahead and start assembling this dish. Now you can eat it on a bun or a croissant or fancy pants. Do it on some fancy bread with the crust cut off. But I'm not going to do any of that. I'm going to serve it on this, which is a cabbagey, kale, cilantro, salad mix that I never buy because they're outrageously priced at the grocery store, but one of my favorite grocery stores will run these for only $2 on sale. I mean, how can you pass that up, right? So that's why I'm doing it this way. But I've also done it on a croissant, and that is equally good as well. So let's get started with making our stuff. We're going to want about a tablespoon of chopped tarragon divided, so I'm going to do that in a minute. We're going to want a 1 cup of grapes, any kind. I used red, washed and sliced. Half a cup of sour cream, half a cup of mayo, good sour cream mayo. And you pretty much got this with salt and pepper. So let's go ahead and we'll assemble it in this bowl eventually. Let's go ahead and get out a good knife. Where's mine? I was just using for something else, but it's good to go. Okay, we're going to go ahead and cut these in about 3/4 of an inch-ish cubes. You don't want them super huge, but you don't want them small, like little dice, right? So, about like this, okay? Get my bench scraper, put it in a small bowl, okay? So I would have a little bit more if I were doing it with a full chicken breast bone on, which is, you know, generally a little more flavorful, but hey, these were on sale this way, so that's why I did it this way, because it was a lot cheaper, okay, than the chicken bone on. Put it in our bowl, okay? Now let's go ahead and maybe set the chicken back on here, now that it's chopped. Make our dressing in this bowl, okay? So use good products. I cannot tell you how much I love Duke's, and I cannot tell you how much I love Daisy. I am trying to cut a few calories by using a light version. And I do have a light version in my other refrigerator of Duke's. Should I run in and get it? Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. I'm gonna go ahead and pass, but I do have a light version of Duke's. It's like, how many calories less? Half the calories, and it's still really good. But I'll use regular today. That's fine. I don't want to run downstairs to the other kitchen. Okay? So we'll go ahead, half a cup, or a little less. I'm making it just a little less because I don't have quite the amount that quite a full chicken breast. So I'm going to go a little bit less on this dressing. So not quite half a cup in here. Okay? Then we'll go ahead and we'll add half of our tarragon. And I'll show you how I'm going to chop that up. I'm going to take just a little bit of if you have this part of the stem, that's fine, I think. But you don't want the big honking stem that grows on like this if you're doing it fresh, like what I'm using right out of my herb garden, because it doesn't really offer much. It's not like cilantro, in my opinion. So I'll just toss this away. And then while I was out there earlier, I did grab, because they just looked, it smelled so good, some chives, right? I just went ahead and picked those. I'm going to add that to this. So the other half that we're going to use for garnish of the tablespoon, if you will, and this is probably a little shy of a tablespoon. And you don't need to pulverize this with your knife, right? Just run it through a few times. So I'm going to save a little pile for garnish. Little pile here. I'm going to go ahead and add the rest to my cream mixture. I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm going to add my chives now. I'm going to let this sit in the refrigerator in this bowl for about 2-3 hours before I eat it, because I think it tastes better if it sits a while. Okay? So I'm not going to make and eat this right away, which is what I usually do on this channel. Okay? I'm going to add that. We're going to add, let's see, I'm looking at my recipe. A little salt and a little pepper, of course, doesn't harm anything. A little salt. Little pepper. Okay. Give this a good stir. Doesn't look like much now, but believe me, it will be. Go ahead and add the rest of our chicken. This is going to make, for me, I think this is going to make 2 meals, because this is a lot. Okay, I'm going to add almost all of the toasted nuts. I'm going to add that next. Doggone it, I can smell that tarragon right now. Right now, I'm not kidding you, it smells so good. I'm going to hit the very top of it with the rest of these nuts and that little bit of tarragon when I'm actually getting ready to eat this. I'm going to take just a little bite to taste for salt and pepper. A little bite. It hasn't even marinated yet, or you know what I mean, melded yet. I'm kind of a pepper fiend. I really like a lot of pepper, so I'm going to add some more. I'm going to add just a little bit of garlic powder, just a little. Keeping it real. Give it another stir. And then I'm going to grab I'm going to grab my lid over here. I am going to put these things in the refrigerator, wait another hour and a half, 2.5 hours, see where I'm at. And I'm going to eat this, and it's going to be so yummy and healthy, which is good because I've been vacationing here lately and not eating the best while on vacation. Deep dish pizzas, things that are no-nos normally. So I'm going to really appreciate this fresh, healthy salad. If you make something similar to this, let me know down in the comments. As always, it really helps my channel if you can subscribe, and if you can hit the little like button right beneath, that helps too. Drop me a comment if you make this particular chicken salad. I'll leave you the recipe down below in the new location, not in the comments anymore since I figured out how to do that. And wherever you're at, I hope you're having a wonderful day, taking care of yourself, and just really enjoying yourself and having a good time. Right, Rosie? All right, so I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.